Greetings and welcome once again to my new calculus channel. My name is John Gabriel, and in a previous video I discussed some facts about the new calculus. As you shall see shortly, I gave you a video on mainstream ignorance, stupidity, and arrogance, and I introduced MarkusKlyverisms. So in this video, I'll continue on the idiocies of MarkusKlyverisms, and I'll just call that part two. So, people, mainstream academics just don't pay attention to detail. They never have. And one of the things that I've noticed is that when you show them things, like for example, this, in the new calculus, we can find the derivative using this identity because it's just simply f prime of x equal to this, as this term here is always zero. Okay, it's not the case though with the historic identity which I introduced to fix your flawed bullshit calculus. Okay, because q of xh is never zero unless f is a straight line. Okay, now from these two identities you can get an integral. Now notice how messy the mainstream integral becomes, because this term is never zero. So you'll always have the area as the product of h and the sum of the derivative plus the difference in slopes. Okay, the difference in slopes is between the magenta non-parallel secant line and the tangent line. Okay, and of course there is no difference in slopes in the new calculus because these lines are parallel. Okay, these lines are parallel, meaning that this term here, q of xmn, is always zero. But this here can never be zero unless, of course, you're dealing with a straight line. So notice that the new calculus integral is very simple. It's just m plus n times f prime of x. Do you know why? Because the new calculus integral and derivative are defined in terms of this identity, and the derivative in the new calculus is defined according to the mean value theorem. So all those absolute morons who called it drivel and nonsense have egg on their faces, because it's like saying the mean value theorem is wrong. Guess what? If the mean value theorem were wrong, your calculus wouldn't work. None of your calculus. I'm not just talking about single variable calculus. I'm talking about multivariable calculus. I'm talking about vector calculus, any calculus you can think of. The very fact that you can, for example, if you have a parametric equation like this, okay, and you can differentiate these or integrate them, is due to the mean value theorem. Okay, and you have to be dealing with a smooth function. Otherwise, you can't integrate and you can't differentiate. Okay, so the mean value theorem is the fundamental theorem of calculus. That's what I revealed. Now, what I'd like to do in this short video is I'd like to deal with a MarkusKlyverism part two. Okay, so what that means is that, somebody like MarkusKlyver might look at this and think that there are a million different ways to write this, but there really aren't. There's just one way to write it. So this is what the idiot comes up with. He says that if you have a function like f of x is equal to 2x squared, then if we simplify this difference quotient, we're going to get that, right? But he says you can rewrite that in many ways like this. So 2x plus 1 plus h minus 1, etc. So, the imbecile will say things like this. Okay. But now the problem is that all of these are not different from this. They're exactly the same as this. You know why? Because when you simplify them, they all result in 2x plus h. But somehow for a master math graduate, that's what he says, master math graduate from Sweden, this nincompoop, M. Klyver, believes these are all different representations of this expression. Okay, so they've been trying for a long time to get rid of the new calculus because they're actually afraid of learning it. There is some learning to be done, and the interesting part of this is that in any new calculus situation, there is a relationship between the point of tangency and the endpoints of a parallel secant line. I revealed this, by the way. I, the great John Gabriel, revealed this to the human race. They didn't know it. Okay. All they could do was to say something stupid like f of b minus f of a over b minus a is equal to f prime of c. But they didn't realize that there's a relationship between c, b, and a, okay? And that relationship comes in terms of the auxiliary equation, a very powerful feature, not possible in your bullshit calculus, okay? Not possible. So that's the first feature that you will find. And speaking of that, somebody asked me in the comment section if I could provide one significant computation. So I gave him two. I said the auxiliary equation and the Gabriel polynomial, which has no error term. There are a lot more, of course, but by the time he digests these, will probably be a few weeks or months, because mainstream academics, math academics, are all idiots whose idea of their abilities and talents far exceeds reality. So those are some of the features of the new calculus, okay? And those two features are basically introductory to most mainstream academics. They're not easy. They need some study. And of course, mainstream math professors are lazy dogs. They are not interested in learning anything new. They basically want to be stuck in their stuffy little offices doing nothing besides the little that they do in order to gain a paycheck. Okay, they're not interested in anything else, not in the future of your children who want to study mathematics or anything else. So rather than carry on, I'm going to recommend that you become a subscriber, click like on my channel, and then also, if you want to get more out of my channel, click on any of the videos and then click on the click on the join button, okay? This button here. And for a mere $4.99 a month, you have access to all my ongoing research, as well as a lot more goodies that you will not be able to see if you're not a members only. I'm John Gabriel, and this is New Calculus Channel. Till next time, get